I saw an interesting comment from a law firm that's saying we make more money now when AI came out than ever before because every client we get thinks he is a lawyer.
Having a big team used to be like a status symbol. I think a lot of times those companies maybe overcorrected and they hired too many people in the first place.
Even Google is now borrowing money to not to stay afloat, but just to fund this AI race.
Klarna also fired, was it? 700 customer support agents.
Yeah.
And then they, after less than a year, they started hiring them back.
Funny thing is, the same AI that coders buy for $20 a month, we're selling to lawyers for $2,000.
I think in the future, the cost of running these small language models or large language models is going to go down.
Lawyers will win.
Welcome back to the second live session of AI Law and Infrastructure. In this episode, we have a guest, Raymond Blyd, who's been in legal tech for more than 20 years. We discuss the economic reality behind legal AI, who's actually making money, who isn't, and why most legal tech companies are under pressure despite all the hype. We also get into open source models, infrastructure cost, and what law firms need to understand before investing heavily into AI. Let's get into it. Okay, nice. It says we're live. So hopefully this time we're actually live, because the last time I don't think that the handshake between the StreamYard and LinkedIn happened. But yeah, what's been new this week, guys? Any bigger news? There's still a lot of buzz around co-work. I think that's the most interesting, and agentic systems. And then Baker McKenzie laid off 700 people.
Oh,
Baker McKenzie is what? What type of company?
One of the big law firms, and they fired 700 people, and they're not putting it all on AI. But one of the reasons is, wait, how they're putting it? Yeah, they're saying it's not only because of AI, but they need to rethink how they're doing things.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Including their use of AI, which is pretty interesting. It still doesn't mean that AI is doing things already. I mean, doing the work already. But
no,
yeah, I mean, like we
want to explore what can be done.
Sorry, Frode?
I said it sounds more like they want to explore, and they will fire people to explore, and then they will see.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like, it's almost a coincidence that, yeah, it's a big coincidence that Klarna also fired 2023, was it? 700 customer support agents.
Yeah.
And then they, after less than a year, they started hiring them back because AI was able to handle, let's say, 40% of the easy questions that you could find an answer in FAQs, but more complex ones, AI was not doing so good. So basically their customer satisfaction was also going down. So they had to rehire people, and let's see whether this is one of those. But because we did see a lot of, in headlines, there were a lot of layoffs, especially in big tech, right? Coders were getting fired, and the scapegoat was AI. The reason was AI, right? But then I don't know, because like the seniors and juniors were getting laid off at the same rate. So if you have like a technology that is able to do junior level work, then you would presumably be more firing junior people, right? I think so.
Do you think, you see these companies like Airtable, right? That they have like this huge they have so many employees for a company that probably doesn't require that many employees. I wonder if it's a mistake in the beginning of the company and just hiring too many people in the first place to run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think maybe it's a correction in that sense. Maybe it's like partially about AI, but partially it's just like a correction because they overcorrected. I was reading a little bit about like venture capital and startups in Silicon Valley in like the I don't know, I guess like the 2010s and stuff like that. But having a big team used to be like a status symbol, right? It's like we have this big team, we have 500 people or 1,000 or whatever, however many people. But I think a lot of times those companies maybe overcorrected and they hired too many people in the first place. And now they're kind of looking in and saying, you know, do we really need all the people that we have right now?
Yeah, I don't know. In big tech, we are seeing like the lower percentage of people based on performance reviews, right, is getting fired. And then they're also hiring at the same time. Like all these companies that keep on laying people off, also constantly have their job boards completely full with vacancies for the same positions that they're firing. So like it's also like, in a sense, it's also almost, if you look at it, as getting fresh blood into the company, because it comes with new ideas, new perspectives. Diversity is important when it comes to talent and throwing people at a problem. So I think there's many different reasons behind these layoffs, especially because in labor displacements reports of the past year, we haven't seen significant layoffs because of the technology. Like we didn't see much more of what was already happening, and still the market is correcting after the COVID. That was a big hit on the markets, and especially on hiring and firing. So I think that we still have to get to a stable level there. I'm not sure whether it's all about AI.
Yeah, but it's also very strange because you now see OpenAI hiring a lot of salespeople to sell their custom build service. So if agents and AI is so great, why can't agents do it? Why do you have to hire people to sell your service?
Yeah.
No, I just find it curious. The biggest AI company in the world has to hire people to sell their service.
Yeah.
They just have the agents do it, right?
Yeah. If they are so good, why can't agents do it?
Right.
I mean, because go ahead.
Did Frode tell you? When I was off LinkedIn for a little bit, right? And Frode.
Yeah, what happened there?
Dude, I got my account restricted. I don't know why. But Frode like scheduled a call with me, right, to see like if I was okay. Did he tell you what he put in the description of the call?
Yeah, he sent us a screenshot before he scheduled it.
he puts twice. So I have like a questionnaire that says, what's the main problem in your business? What's the main thing you want to achieve? Whatever. All I see is Frode Nilssen. Kill OpenAI twice. Kill OpenAI. What's the main thing you want to do? Kill OpenAI. There he is.
Hi, Raymond. How's it going?
Nice to see you.
So when I said yes, I didn't know it was on a Saturday.
No worries.
You don't want to know in how much trouble I am now. So anyway, happy to be here, guys. Stefan, I was looking it up. I've known you now for 6 years.
Yeah, we've had this chat for a long time.
6 years, man. So glad to be here, guys.
Glad to have you, Raymond. We were just discussing a little bit. Nothing really important at this point. But a little bit about the agentic systems, and we didn't mention yet co-work, which was something that we were touching upon last week. And then since you're with us, we wanted to maybe take an opportunity to ask you a little bit, how do you see a long-term impact of this paradigm shift?
Wow, you're not giving me
No, we're just throwing you in.
No warm-ups. Okay.
Well, before you dive in, let's do a formal introduction first.
Sure. Shall I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Raymond Blyd. That's how you pronounce my last name, and that's why I also spelled it differently than my original name. I ran ventures, Legalcomplex, Legalpioneer, and Sabaio. And I think from an infrastructure perspective, Sabaio is the most interesting because it runs totally on-prem. And let's see. And I noticed that last year, the 20th of December was my 21st birthday of Legalcomplex. So I totally missed it. But yeah, so I've been around for quite some time. I started out in 2000, I think 16 or 17 with collecting financial data on legal tech startups. And and I've been talking to Stefan for like 6 years now. And with Masai for almost, how long? 6 months or a year?
Probably close to a year now, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, that's me.
Frode, do you want to take it over? Because I know that you had some.
Steven is good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, Stephen Currie, like the ball player. I'm a lawyer here. I'm a practicing lawyer. As Raymond said, I've been dibbling and dabbling in technology for years, trying to figure this AI thing out. I'm still learning, trying to figure it out. I dabble in a little bit of everything, trying to learn and trying to grow and figure out what the heck's going on, because there's just so much happening in not just the legal space, but all over the globe. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have a whole lot to share. I'm pretty tired. It's Saturday. It's like 6 a.m. my time.
Yeah.
Go grab some coffee. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll pass the mic to someone else.
Stefan, what is it? 4-time NBA champion or 5-time? What is it? How many? 4-time.
4. Yeah.
Very nice. Should I
I'm
go?
in Mexico, so I'm a little darker today.
Nice. Nice. I'm Masai Brown-Andrews. I've been doing automation development consulting work for about 2 years now. In the past year, I've been focusing on small law firms, helping them figure out strategy and doing development implementation for them.
Frode, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Frode Nilssen, mostly focused on offline systems for enterprise, and dabble around with AI whenever I can.
Rok, I'm a consultant to law firms. We're consulting on technology in general, but mainly on AI and what it takes to adopt. Pretty much it. And I'm also running a podcast, and we're having these sessions now every Saturday for quite some weeks.
You're in Amsterdam, right?
Yes, I used to be. I'm living on Mallorca now, but I am coming to the Netherlands a lot. I'm back there again end of the month. So maybe we should catch up.
I'm still waiting. I'm going to. It's my treat, okay? So whenever you're in town, let me know.
And you're in Amsterdam, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not born and raised, but been here for almost 30 years now.
Okay.
So,
but you are Dutch originally, right? You've been born in the Netherlands.
Technically, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I was born in Suriname while it was still a colony of the Netherlands. So I was born a Dutch citizen. But we grabbed our independence in 1975. So I was born before that.
Yeah. Raymond, what do you think about the... So many questions I have for you, but do you feel...
Who will win the legal AI race?
Yeah, of course. And what's the date when the lawyers will be replaced?
Well, I have a spoiler for you. There's a video up on my website that I shot in Madrid, and lawyers will win eventually. I don't think anyone with technology stack at the moment has enough money to stay in the race for that long, whereas lawyers do. So if you only look at it from a burn rate perspective, I posted 2 days ago that even Google is now borrowing money to not to stay afloat, but just to fund this AI race. It is it is difficult to predict what tactic or what strategy or what product or what feature will give anyone a moat in this industry. But for as long as we can remember, over 3 or 4 millennia now, lawyers have been the best paid participants in the industry. So But there are, for the short terms, I do see that Frodo and I have been in contact about this in the past. I do see a couple of modes. One of them is if you're not reliant on reselling tokens. So if you're generating your own, if you have your own energies and your own GPUs, that might be one. Currently, that is, and if you're selling to the government, that's where you see Palantir being one of the best performing companies. Technically, they said they had the best quarter of any company in history. So, so that's one. The other one is if you do have the money to keep paying for electricity and GPUs, then the company with the biggest distribution, like Google, and I also want to put Apple in there as well.
Yeah.
Even though they're not, they don't have AI, they technically have the widest distribution of GPUs that can run AI of any company. And then if you drill down into the legal space, it starts getting fuzzy because there's so much money. The curious thing about legal is that even though it was never the sexiest industry, fintech, all of the others were, fantastic. Legal was never that popular. Suddenly, they've become the most valuable, even compared to other startups that I believe may be better. So, Manus AI was sold for, I think, 2 billion. Um, and that is still less than what other big names, I don't want to mention them, are valued currently. So it is we're living in weird times, I think. What do you think?
What do I think? I think you've summed it up very good. I think that I think you're very right about the lawyers being the most profitable niche service industry for a few millennia, and that's not going to change. And I also don't think it's a fair question if we're not counting in the segmentation, because there's so many different practice areas, so many different clients in those practice areas, and they have a different mentality, which does influence the incentives of law firms.
That's that's a good point. The thing that I struggle with most is the following: if we develop legal AI and legal AI can do lots of the work that lawyers can do, that means they will have less income. If they have less income, how can they pay for legal AI? So it's a weird paradox that we're in. So if I'm a company and I have to choose between investing in AI or trying to cover my risk with a outside counsel or inside counsel, I intuitively would think, you know what, that AI thing can not only solve my legal risk, but also maybe my security risk and my HR and a lot of other stuff. So maybe I should invest there. That means that legal won't earn that much from companies, and that's still their biggest source of income in general.
I think,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think it's interesting. I was watching a podcast the other day with, Richard Susskind. I think Rock, you know him, right? And they were talking about like the long-term play of AI in the legal industry, right? And like if you think about it, everybody's saying AI is going to save lawyers time, right? But if you follow that to its natural conclusion, if AI keeps saving you more and more time, eventually it saves you all your time, meaning that it's doing everything, right, at some point. But
So
yeah.
that's the curious thing. It will save in-house lawyers time.
Mm,
Because in-house lawyers need to be saved by AI. They need to process a lot of documents and contracts and legal processes, and they are always understaffed and underappreciated. So they need AI. It will save them time, but it won't. I'm still struggling to figure out how that would work out for law firms in general.
Yeah, the traditional ones, right? Like you can see its place when we're talking about those AI native law firms like Garfield AI, and then there's like General Legal. It's also like an AI native like law firm regulated. But that's also like a third way where a lawyer could go, right?
Anyone here can explain to me what their business model will be?
You mean of AI native law firm?
Yeah, an AI native law firm. What is their business model?
Yeah, the business model is that basically you're standardizing the tasks that you could be, for example, small debt collection, right? Could be very standardized process, and then you're designing the whole process. Well, the core of the process is technology, basically workflows. You're building workflows where there's deterministic rules, and then they're married with a bit more probabilistic techniques. You also have a machine learning model, a rule-based one, or you can have in this ensemble also different LLMs or whatnot, right? And then you're basically joining on your platform clients and lawyers that in the end should still be reviewing it, at least based on these regulations today. But that means completely redefining a process and picking those that can be very, very standardized. I don't see this happening in like patent litigation, for example, or appellate attorneys. I also don't see them being AI native.
So that's the trick, because you explained it beautifully, but you didn't mention any specific practice areas. Because once you do that, you're going to start seeing that if you do that in specific practice areas, there's not enough volume and there's not enough value. Most law firms, the sad thing I sense in the industry is that we're always influenced by three cities: London, New York. Those have the biggest firms in general, but those firms, their biggest source of incomes is M&A. Those are high value transactions. Those are never how do you call it? There's no automation there.
Yeah.
Zero technology makes the most money. Zero technology. But if you go downstream, you'll see that, for instance, where there's a high volume, like HR or maybe supply chain, you have contracts where when a package is sent to you, you have to sign, which is a transaction. Those are high volume, low value. You can automate those. You can, but the value still is very low. So you're going to still struggle to figure out earnings.
The profitability of it. Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, and you're right. It's expensive to invest into this technology. Also, iteratively invest into it.
Yeah. So, for instance, patents has been and e-discovery has been made more cost efficient for the longest time. The funny thing with patents is those fees started increasing. The more automation came in, the higher those fees started to get. So maybe that would be an area which intellectual property has historically always been one of the most profitable areas to invest in legal, especially, for instance, in the entertainment industry. But then again, in the entertainment industry, you only have one Beyonce and Taylor Swift. It is a really challenge to find volume and value match up and make it profitable.
Yeah. Frode, you had a good question, I know.
Oh, yes. What do you think about the new the cloud going into legal now? The market reacted very fast. What do you think?
Well, two things. One, we saw the stocks drop about 16-17%
Yeah.
in one day. The funny thing is, if you zoom out in 5 years, you see that the stock have been dropping since last year. So if you, and anyone can pick any of the big three names, I will name them, and go to Google Finance or your own financial dashboard. Zoom out 5 years, you'll see that all of them started dropping from February 2025. Actually, from July, I think 18, it was like a vertical drop, and we only noticed that they were dropping after the Cloud Code plugin came out. Now, what is happening are two things at once. One is all of the software as a service companies are under pressure, the public ones. So they have been dragging down everybody in theory. But specifically for legal, on July 18, something happened. And somebody sent me a direct message and saying, and gave me an event, a signal that what happened on July 18. Now, I'm not going to, I cannot share that because I cannot verify it and I don't want to put rumors out there. But there have been signals for a really long time that legal tech, the public companies were under pressure and they were dropping. So the cloud plugin thing was just a kicking us while we're down and waking us up that this has been already happening for quite some time. Now the stock bounced back up. I know some friends of mine who were saying, "Hey, it's I'm buying the dip," but I also told them I don't give investment advice. You would be crazy to take my advice on anything, but if you see that, and again, I go back to the Google borrowing money. If you see that even big companies cannot fund this, how can smaller companies keep up? And how can you and I keep up? I don't know. Does
I
that
saw
answer your
oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I saw an interesting comment from a law firm that's saying we make more money now when AI came out than ever before because every client we get thinks he is a lawyer because he's been using AI before actually contacting a law firm. So they have more work because hallucinations and bullshit.
So that might be one effect that is happening. What I can tell you is the following. I recently had a service. I engaged in a service. They send over a contract. Now, automatically, what I do is I throw it into my AI and ask my AI, like, tell me what's wrong with this contract. I told me, yeah, this is, too one-sided. You have to negotiate on this, negotiate on that. So I send what my AI told me, I send that back. So I get an answer back from them. And I could read in their answer that it was their AI telling them how to answer. So here's the thing: people don't understand that. Yes, we're having more work. Everybody plays is now technically a lawyer, but actually we're just middlemen for these bots because they are doing the thinking and we're doing the talking. So it's we're now the middleman. we're
reversed.
Yes, they run the show and we just do what they say. And sometimes it goes wrong with hallucinations and referencing. By the way, hallucinations, I might say something really controversial, has been largely fixed. The issue with hallucinations is that there are three types of hallucinations that you get. The ones that where the number referencing is incorrect, and the second one is where the context of the reference doesn't match with the argument that you're trying to make. And there is another one that is called a parenthetical citations, whereby you cite something that is cited in another case, like a nested citations. And yeah, if you figure out that those are the issues, then you can solve them at the end. But what I'm assuming at the moment is that lawyers are just getting how do you call it, lazy, and they just want to win. So if they see something that looks good, smells good, then they send it in. That's my impression at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Raymond,
sorry,
it's
Steve. Masai, continue.
yeah, no, I was just saying it's crazy because as you were talking, I went and I looked up the stock charts of, I guess we're not saying names of, but of the companies, and exactly the same day that you said, July 18th, 2025, one of the big companies, you see like that's the downward
Yeah.
trend when it starts. Yeah.
So the first one was February 12th.
Okay.
So February 11th was a high, and then one started dropping, but then it started picking up again. So it's like normal things. But the funny thing is, look at those 2-3 names, how they were the last 5 years up until February. They were all going steadily up. Even I'll name one, LegalZoom, which is I think you can buy a pack of milk, which is more expensive than their stock. And I shouldn't say that anyway, but they were they were also going up.
Oh wow.
See, you're looking at it right now, right?
Yeah, yeah. Wow, yeah, this is crazy.
Okay, so we didn't notice that because we went crazy about all of the funny news that we're getting in. But we humans have recency bias, so we only look at the news that we've heard like the last couple of 3 or 4 days, but we don't look at it in context of the bigger picture. We see that the bigger picture isn't that rosy. That said, there are spaces that are growing really fast. What was it, Frodo, that mentioned that law firms are making more money um, in certain areas, and that's true. The challenge for us is to figure out what are those areas and why.
Yeah.
Raymond, what do you think about, I think the recent YC batch has like 3 AI law
Yeah.
firms in it. Have you seen that?
YC always let me say 3 things. These are crazy numbers that I'm going to throw out. I'm not even crazy numbers, crazy stats. YC has historically been the biggest funder of legal tech companies globally. Guess which entity is second to YC? Anybody has an idea which investor has been the biggest funder of legal technology in the world after YC?
Sequoia.
Nope.
A16C.
Nope.
Microsoft.
No, is it
Nope.
Anders Horowitz?
The U.S. government.
No, I was thinking so. Yeah, yeah.
That was my second guess.
Now, guess what happened after Doge?
No funding for legal tech. Oh, wow, that's interesting.
So it had so many weird effects. But anyway, actually, the U.S. government globally is one of the biggest funder of legal startups, and some of these startups have technology. Let me clarify that point. And if you drill down and looking at investors, YC has always been, they always had legal in the back of their mind. What has changed, in my opinion, is that OpenAI, once they discovered they had fire, the first forest that they wanted to burn down was legal. So they invested. They invested in one of the big players. But they also did a study called GDP Vals and looked at what are the professions that bring in the most revenue and contribute the most to the gross domestic product of the U.S. And software engineers, of course, was number one. But yeah, look at who's doing the study. So, but the second was legal services, and the third one was I think compliance and government. But if you take those 3 together, they're almost as much as software. So if you look at where most of the money is being transacted or being made in general, legal is one of the top contributors to gross net domestic product. And that's why they keep asking, please come with legal tech startups and we'll fund you. I think, what's his name? Gary Yang, he's the head of YC, right?
Tan, yeah, right, Gary Tan.
Gary Tan, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
he was pleading, please, we need to fix solve fraud at the government. Basically, he wanted the next Palantir. But those are the technology startups, what I also call legal tech or governance, risk, and compliance, that have been doing really well in this space. And the funny thing is, the only, I would say the only, but the best people to run these companies are lawyers, those that have a legal background and understand when you're doing something illegal. So they are they are the best founders for these companies. And Gary also said it in his video. He said, "Listen, I don't want any tourists. I only want people that understand fraud, have been and done the work, preferably have a legal background, went to court. We want those people." So yeah, but people say I'm bearish on the legal industry. I'm not. I'm trying to be realistic and looking at the numbers, because again, legal has been around longer than we had professions basically.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, you see really interesting companies when you see like lawyers that have a little bit of a technology background that go and found like Case Text for what's the Case Text guy? What's his name? Do you know? You know?
yeah, there were, I think, 2 or 3 founders for Casetext, but I forgot their names as well. They're now with Thomson Reuters.
Yeah, they got acquired. I think they got acquired for like $500 million or something.
680, I think.
There we go, numbers. Yeah. But I
Or
mean, one of them,
600 and 650.
that's US or US, right? USD.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think one of the founders. I mean, obviously, one of the founders was the guy I'm thinking of was a lawyer. He had a legal background, but he was also like a computer science background. Also, I think some mix of those two. So it's interesting to see that combination, right?
That combination has existed for a very long time. For instance, Peter Thiel is a legal professional.
Yeah.
So and there are several still in the industry. We don't know their credentials, but some of them have legal backgrounds. I don't track people's backgrounds and stuff, but when it pops up, it immediately makes sense to me. Like, okay, that's why they understand the space, and that's why they're successful in certain settings.
What do you think about legal tech startups now, right? Like these new companies coming out. How do they come into the market, you think, and where's the places where they can provide value, do you think?
There is a debate of what legal tech is. I have a really broad definition of a legal tech. For me, it's everything that impacts legal work. So that could be voting, that could be fraud, that could be any kinds of stuff that has its basis in a rule of law, basically, not just what lawyers do. And if you follow that definition, you'll start to noticing that if you build technology to serve lawyers who traditionally haven't needed that much technology, and everybody's trying to do that. Let me just clarify one thing. One of the reasons why people are building technology for lawyers is because lawyers, because they earn so much money, like 800-900 an hour, people figure that, okay, so even if I charge them 900 a month for the use of my legal AI, they can offset those costs to their customers. The thing that most people don't realize about legal work is, yes, you can charge 8, 9, 1200 2,000 an hour, but you cannot write 40 hours or 80 hours a week to charge 2,000. So, and it's really tricky. So the margins with lawyers are not that in that sense that they can easily offset the cost of buying such expensive legal AI. Funny thing is, the same legal AI or the same AI that the coders buy for $20 dollars a month, we're selling to lawyers for 2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, at some point this will snap. I don't know when yet. So law firms have to lay off people just to keep paying for these subscriptions. The other thing that I found really curious was, I won't name this because this is another sensitive one. Early on in the race, somebody closed a really big deal. I think it was a consultancy or a law firm with Microsoft Copilot for like 1 or 2 million. That was a really bad bet because Microsoft Copilot isn't that good for legal work. Okay, let me not before these people.
Not good for any work, but that's okay.
Yeah, let me be careful.
They'll
But
shut down the live, maybe. They'll
yeah,
come on.
but everybody was amazed. Like, yo, this is a cool cool deal. This is how it's supposed to be. These law firms should invest and spend, and they shouldn't. But in hindsight, lawyers are trained to spot risk and avoid them. So
Mhm.
once they see this happen once, they're going to be reluctant to jump at the next best circus and pay top dollar. So, and that will continue into the future. So that would, I assume, make things really difficult for legal tech startups to go into the market and sell to law firms. That said, there are so many other industries and areas where they should be going. Again, Gary came on and made a TikTok, or sorry, a YouTube Shorts, begging people come into this space. Um, the other one that I found fascinating as well was, I'll name them because I think it's pretty cool, is Simple Closure. Quick plug for Simple Closure. They were at a fintech conference and he was pitching them, but even without a pitch deck, and he raised 1 million in just one afternoon. The funny thing is, if you are investing in Simple Closure, which is helping startups wind down their businesses, you're basically betting on against yourself as an investor.
Mhm.
Because you're betting that these investments will pan out, but if they don't, you can still win. If a Simple Closure handles most of these bankruptcies. So, and the startling stat that I found there was this: 92% of companies fail, and
Mhm.
investors know that too. So, but that's so actually you shouldn't invest in legal tech startup. You should invest in legal tech startups not making it, and that might be a better, that area might be a better area. So
Yeah.
that's one. The other one was, there was this crypto startup, and they were pitching to Michael. I think his name is Michael Oatvitz, because he's like this big entertainment agent for. Anyway, he's a big name in the entertainment industry, behind the scenes agent. He said 5 minutes in the pitch call, he heard something and he said, "Listen, you can track down copyright in AI, and I need that because I'm losing money on all of my movies and music because it's being copyrighted. Oh, sorry, there's being how do you call it? Copyright is being infringed. So if your AI is able to spot intellectual property and stop infringements, I want to invest in it." 15 minutes into the call, they got funded. 15 minutes. So yeah, if you know those areas, you should go and do those solve those problems. The the federal government, I think it's the IRS in the US, they say they saved in 2024, they saved 1 billion in tracking down value-added tax infringements. 1 billion with AI. They didn't say who the vendor was that built that product, and I was like, we should have built that product because how cool is it that you can say you saved the federal government 1 billion in cost? It's instant ROI. You cannot say that to a law firm. What technology for a law firm would save them 1 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. The ratio.
I'll stop.
Raymond,
Yes, $1 billion question.
can I ask you, how do you see the role of open source models beyond 2026 in law firms? Is it more?
They're going to play a big role. Small models, and okay, I'm biased. I started Sabaio on this premise. Frode knows this, but there are some places where you cannot, you don't have internet. So, for instance, in the air, internet is crappy or expensive. At sea, internet doesn't work well. You cannot have your hospital connect to the internet. There are some places where you don't. So the only models you can run there are open source models, and the only models that will run cheaply are small ones. So I do see, and by the way, GPT-5 gave us all a how do you call it? A new paradigm to think about, because GPT-5 was the first model that was routing questions, a smaller model routing questions to which model should handle this. Is this for a big model? Should this go to the faster model or the cheaper one? So I assume that those routing models will become more popular because they're going to have to route, okay, this is privacy sensitive information, needs to go to a smaller model. This is not, this can go to a bigger model. I see that infrastructure and orchestration becoming more popular, because ultimately the biggest value that any lawyer has is to be independent, and the only way to stay independent is not to be reliant on a cloud model with any bias towards the west or the east.
Yeah, true. And you also see it, the most successful models today, like DeepSeek, is a mixture of experts.
MOE, yeah.
Yeah, Kimi K2, the latest one, mixture of experts. And most Chinese models coming out now is mixture of experts. So they're already building it into the architecture.
I have a question.
But I think smaller ones will be good in the future.
Frode, isn't it true that like mixture of experts architecture, they were doing that before, in like before GPT-5, no? GPT-4.1 and GPT-4 I think had mixture of experts, and then GPT-5 was the first time it was like explicit routing to different sort of models, no?
Yeah, you had open source models that did it before GPT-5, but they were
wasn't it Mistral 8 times 7B, or what was it, 8 times 22B, something like this? Yeah, that was like 2 years ago already.
Let me give you a simple example for legal why this is important. All models have a knowledge cutoff date, because they cannot they cannot still sustain continual learning, so they have a knowledge cutoff date. If you ask it a question, the first thing a small routing model should do is maybe check into the model memory or data, see if it can find the answer there. But if the question also needs more recent data, it needs to call up a tool, do a web search, and find the latest information. If you have a dispute with somebody and the dispute was happened maybe last year, but there's a new law in place that changes your situation, your legal AI needs to account for that as well, not just looking at its own internal memory. So all of these tricky little things, because most people still just, in my opinion, most legal tech is still focused on contracts, but there are a lot of other stuff that also need. And so one of these things I think would be valuable as well for lawyers and law firms to, verify and check that their model is able to do that that routing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Interesting.
Let me ask you all a question. So the thing that we all can talk to Cloud Code or Cloud Coder and have it build whatever it is we wanted to build. What I see is everybody just copying what we already have. Monday.com, Tabular Review, but that's just building a faster horse with less security and more support. Just forget about that part. But now that we're able to build whatever, what should we be building? I'll start with you, Rock.
Oh, Rock, yeah.
Can I ask you one thing, Raymond? How do you see? Right. Okay, let's say I'm in a firm where the leadership is already a little bit more bought onto AI and also understands to a level that control of their data, their workflows, and the models is the moat, right? Let's say they're bought onto this idea. And then how do they, because I see a clash, this is not an investment that's going to necessarily pay within 1 year, but the business model is made in a way that within 1 year, the partners are going to basically take the majority of the profits out for individual basically payoff at the end of the year, and only a small percentage of this is going to be invested back into making the firm more efficient, and then again only a fraction of that percentage is going to actually go into AI, right? So but for I agree with you for if you break down the tasks granularly enough, then you can use really small models, but sometimes when you need a bigger one, right, you could also talking with privacy and security in mind, right? Maybe you don't want to send your data to Azure or AWS instance of OpenAI or Claude. Maybe you want to benefit from open source, because we do have this humongous Chinese models that are powerful enough. How do you?
Here's the thing. The first and last time I sold Sabaio was to I'll say an entity that had GPUs. So leadership should already be thinking about, I need to buy GPUs, H100s, H200s, Blackwell, whatever, and I need electricity, because even if you buy them, because I've also seen that they buy 4 or 5, and once they have them, the engineer goes and install them and say, hey, we don't have enough power, and when they have power, oh, we don't have enough cooling. The room is about to explode. So there are firms that and leadership that are well aware, and especially in Europe, because they know that none of the good models run in Europe. So if they don't want to export data, if they want to keep data private, again, ethically, a lawyer is supposed to keep their client, what is it? Client privilege.
Confidentiality.
Yeah, by law. Otherwise, you won't trust your lawyer. So that I have seen firms and entities invest in hardware and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that is not the question that they are how do you call it? They're not willing to invest, or their cost structure prevents them from investing. But you asked the right question. When will they see a return on that investment? And that takes creativity. One way to have a return on investment is if you have a client that is willing to pay for you to be having that confidentiality. If you have a large enough client that can support you in those costs, you will you can do it. So law firms are not only reliant on themselves but also reliant on their customers to wanting this. Just like you, if you want to sell this idea to a law firm, that law firm also needs a client that wants to, so it's again, it's, you have to look at the entire supply chain of where the revenue comes from, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Very
I
interesting.
want to mention something that I've been thinking about, actually seeing a lot lately. I guess as LLMs develop, technology is developing as well, kind of in parallel. GPUs are getting smarter, and then as of recent, there's these other services that are coming about, and they're like LLM services or inference engines that people are building to help as a layer. I guess it's a layer for LLMs to bring the cost down and to speed up LLMs. So I think in the future, or maybe the next couple of years, the cost of running these small language models or large language models is going to go down. And I think the next series of GPUs or consumer technology is going to be AI embedded hardware or AI hardware.
Is it?
Yeah.
I wonder what Raymond thinks of this.
So here's the thing. They told us cost for tokens will come down. They did not lie, okay? But what they didn't tell us is we will need more tokens. Yesterday, I had Claude running for 20 minutes, okay? I was sweating all of the time because I knew I was out of usage.
Your money's gone.
And I see everybody going, yeah, Mold bought this, networks, AI talking to each other. I'm like, who's paying for that? Because where is that money coming from?
Wait, Raymond.
Go ahead.
For your cloud code, do you use API key or you use OAuth for your cloud account?
Good question. I don't know. I think
because if you use API key, you're gonna get excuse my language, you're gonna get screwed basically because you're gonna pay for usage.
Yeah. So
you have to use if you use OAuth, you pay $20 a month and you get a bunch of use, or pay $200 a month and you get a bunch of use.
Honestly, Claude is really cool because what they've done is they said, listen, you have a subscription and you can put in extra money, prepaid, just like a phone, old school. I see Stefan laughing. He remembers those times.
I remember those times. Oh man, struggle.
Yeah. Well, we're getting into that space right now. We have to prepay our usage because
AI impulses.
Yeah. So I posted about it yesterday. Like they said, people using AI will work harder. You can't, because at some point your money of tokens will run out, and then you have to stop because you cannot. You have to sit there and wait until your usage or your when it resets.
The limit,
You gotta wait the next day or week.
So in that sense, like Masai is saying, okay, then you can use OpenRouter or one of these other services. You can use Cerebrus and Grok. Actually, yeah, we can still use Grok, right? It's not with NVIDIA, and you can manage those costs because OpenRouter is like I put in 50 euros like maybe 4 months ago, and I'm still at like 94 euros or something, because some of these models through OpenRouter are really cheap. But here comes the big issue. You know that Claude works best with Opus or Opus 4.6. So you don't want to switch to Kimi K2.5 in the middle of a project, because you don't know what the effects will be. But yeah, to answer your question, there's a market for open source models. Companies and entities and firms are willing to pay for compute, energy, and cooling. The big issue is they need to pay so much money up front and are not sure how they're going to make it back. Again, even Google has to borrow money. Okay. And we don't know when they're going to, and they borrowed money for 100 years. We're all going to be dead by then. So I'm not sure
No
who's
one's going to be around. Who's going to pay it back?
It looks like they made a calculation, like, AI will defeat the human race by, in 30 years time. Let's put it on the 100. Then we know we're safe by that time. So yeah, it's crazy.
But we're also, as consumers of this of new hardware, right, that is developing, as Stephanie's saying, we're also competing with those big AI providers, right? I mean, literally, they don't have enough data centers. They're building them like crazy. So essentially, we are competing with them for chips. And I don't know, like, I'm really wondering, like, in a year or two, how easy is it going to get how easy is it going to be to get our hands on a GPU? Yeah.
I think it's going to be easy because China has now built their own market. So give them a year or two to test it out and get some feedback, and they're going to flood the market like to do with anything.
So the breakthroughs that were, if black swan scenarios, we get a frontier model that can run on CPUs. If we get, technically it's almost impossible, but we can dream. That's one. The other one is there is a GPU that doesn't require that much energy and cooling. It can
What's with
run
the LPUs? How is that, those two things that you just mentioned, how do they work with LPUs?
Yes.
Is the consumption way lower?
Yeah, so what my understanding is from LPUs is that it is more of a single purpose way of doing inference. And you need to really, the big advantage that I heard NVIDIA has is their GPUs with the CUDA software makes it easier for training. But for inference, it's, in my opinion, or let's not say in my opinion, what I heard, it's too expensive. That's why they bought Grok with a Q. With Google, and by the way, people tend to forget, people see Google as a software company and Amazon as a software company. They're not. The reason why they're making money is because they've been hardware companies all along. We just forgot that they are hardware companies. That search runs on their proprietary hardware. That's why their search is so fast. Same thing with AWS. The only reason why they start making big loads of money is because they started renting out their hardware infrastructure to everybody else with AWS. But technically, these are hardware companies. So where was I going with this? Oh, the TPUs have been specially made to work with the Google ecosystem. Now I've heard that Anthropic is buying into it. Others are trying to have them, and just only because they have looks like lots of capacity to spare, that other models can run on their same infrastructure as well. Now, we cannot go out and buy a TPU laptop. I'm not sure if that's possible yet. The only thing we can go out and buy easily is CPU hardware, and on that hardware, large language models cannot do really good inference or fast inference. But if we get a breakthrough on one of these two dimensions, so a frontier model runs on cheaper chips, or frontier chips use less energy, one of these two, then the world would be a better place, or cheaper for us, I think.
Yeah, I also think I've been hoping that Apple would make their own CUDA.
They did MLX, right?
MLX, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still too early. We'll see if they keep it up. Not much happened since they launched it, but we'll see. But I think Apple could have a big advantage if they really went for the AI market. They could kill it fast.
So the funny thing about Apple and Microsoft, they have the same issue. and that is Microsoft had all of the infrastructure, everything, because that's why OpenAI went and married with them, and now it's really they have to go to marriage counseling at the moment.
Yeah.
But the thing that is let's say killing Apple is the fact that they were so distracted with other things, they totally forgot that this was a big thing. And I'm pretty sure they had smart people internally screaming, we should do this because our chips are the best in the business. We can run this. Everybody's buying Mac Minis at the moment. I canceled my order because I'm waiting for the M5, but
Smart, yeah.
yeah, I'm waiting for the M5, but I'm scared now because I think the M5 will have really expensive memory because now memory is also
Yeah, it's super expensive. The prices are now just insane for memory.
Yeah, so however you try and figure this thing out, the bottleneck is money. It is really expensive.
The root of it all, yeah.
Yeah, it's really expensive. So, because I have an old Mac right here, Intel Mac. And everybody say, yeah, you can install Moldbug on any computer and it will run. But if I do it on the Intel Mac, I know that I cannot run a local model. I have to do what Masai is telling me, go buy credits and run it through a cloud provider. But ideally, I want to have it on-prem locally so that I only have to pay for the energy and the internet connection. And yeah, or not even an internet connection, just the energy.
Just energy. No, but it's interesting because you can basically now, if you buy with MLX and the new Thunderbridge software, you can buy 4 Mac Studios that run Kimi K2 at home.
Yeah.
But the prices, I mean, you're looking at $50,000, so it's just crazy.
I made a calculation about Kimi K2.5. It's 698 billion parameters.
Yeah.
So you need a minimal, and I might be wrong, and people can call me out on this. You need at minimum 8 H200 GPUs to run Kimi K2. One H200 from NVIDIA costs $30,000. So you need $250,000 just to run Kimi K2 for one person. We haven't paid for electricity. We haven't paid for cooling. We haven't paid for engineering. We haven't paid for any of that stuff. Just the GPU.
Yeah.
So if you add all of that, that's $500,000. So $500,000 to run Kimi K2.5 for a single human being.
For one user.
Yeah.
Technically, yes.
But then
like I said, I might be wrong, but
I saw an article on BBC saying that
Rock, we can't hear you. Can you guys hear Rock or no?
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You hear Rock, or can you hear Rock?
I hear Rock and I hear you.
Okay, I can't hear Rock.
What? So you can hear me, guys?
No, I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Everybody except Masai can hear you.
That's crazy. Wait, because even for me, he was
crazy.
like disappearing and coming back on. Did you guys see that or no?
Yeah, that happened to me.
Oh yeah, but because my internet tanked twice.
But I can hear him.
I can't hear anything he's saying. This is crazy. I can't hear him at all. I just see his mouth moving, and that's it.
Welcome.
Okay, I'm gonna be quick. Basically, I read
2026. That's crazy.
I'll repeat what he said. Okay.
Yeah, someone translate.
Yeah,
translate what he says.
There was an article on BBC saying that the Chinese open source models are overtaking the US proprietary models like Anthropic, so Claude, OpenAI, what else? Gemini, so all these models are being used less, even by US companies across the board, than the open source are today. And then they gave some projection that basically the costs compared to the cloud usage, basically everything that cloud usage entails, are 90% higher than they are long run if you're running these big, and they were mentioning explicitly those three: DeepSeek, which is 600 plus billion parameters. And then there was QN, I think the 235B, and then Kimi K2 as well. So they were mentioning those three. So costs down, accuracy up because you can fine tune them. But then I was also thinking like, oh, but that just seems like oversimplifying the reality so much. Because you also need teams to be like, if you're going to be fine tuning a model, which is definitely not where you should start when you start working on a project. But like, if you go down the road of fine tuning it, I mean, that doesn't, that means you're going to keep on having, like, you're going to have to keep on fine tuning it. It's not like a one and done type of a job, right?
The word fine tuning is a bit crazy, because what people want to do with fine tuning is just making it more deterministic and accurate in certain places. What happens is then it breaks in other places.
Yeah.
So yeah, and by the way, this was also being pitched by some of, or not even pitched openly, but people assumed that some of these big legal AI companies, legal tech companies, were doing fine tuning and making their models more accurate. They don't have enough money. I don't care how much they raise, they don't have enough money. Again, Google is borrowing. So to train models. The second thing is, if you started tuning it for, let's say, US law, it breaks for Canadian law. If you start tuning it for US and Canadian law, it breaks for Arabic law. So it's like, you know, how do you call it? There's this Dutch saying where you try and bring water to the sea. It's will never stop.
No, if you start fine tuning, it's an endless process. You will just
yes,
have to keep on going.
That's the best way of saying it. So it's an endless process, and the second thing is, it costs you so much money to get there, and then by the time you got there, you see that advancements makes it obsolete what you've been doing.
Yeah.
The new model drops, and then all that work is done.
Yeah, but it's super expensive. It takes time, and by the time you're finished, most likely the hyperscalers have new models, and you have to do it again.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you're doing it for a special purpose. Like, you want to make it accurate on something, and sometimes, let's say you want to make it accurate for a specific product, then another company comes out and makes your problem that you're trying to solve obsolete by doing something else. Because that's what happened with the cloud plugins. That's why everybody started selling legal tech, because they said, listen, if they can do this, then all of these other companies that are solving these problems are actually technically obsolete. Now, I don't want to bash any of these products and software and companies, but if more than 60% of the stocks have been sold by smart people, why would we call them irrational? Because if you look at the chart, they lost more than half their value. So, and the funny thing is, I was watching TV, I was looking for YouTube. I only found people saying it was irrational. I couldn't find one investor that said, you know why we did it? This is the reason why we sold the legal tech stuff. But yeah, that's the issue with fine tuning as well. Investing in that area, you're not sure if you're going to get your return on that as well. Guys, I gotta run.
We're also but this was a very interesting one. Thank you so much, Raymond, for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
So just check up on me. I need to give you all a sign of life after this, because like I said, I'm in big trouble for being here. Okay.
Thank you so much, Raymond.
Right,
We'll
take
check
care.
with you.
Appreciate your time.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Oh yeah, we're also slightly over time, and Masai disappeared. I think that we're exchanging with internet problems today.
Yeah, or I got him. He disappeared from the screen. So
yeah, maybe
I can see his name, but I don't see his his video.
How we need to stay? right?
Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching this, and see you next week. That's it for today. Seems like the big risk for law firms right now is not adopting AI too slowly, but investing in the wrong things without understanding the economics behind it. If you found this useful, subscribe and see you in the next episode.